Alright guys, welcome back to the robot arm project. So what I want to do today is do a little bit of a coding exercise. And I know we've been trying to do this challenge of trying to pick this guy up and move it over here. So I'm just going to show you what I have so far. This is something that we've done in class before, but just as a recap. So right now I have in my code here this initial position where it sets the base motor, extend, lift, and the claw motor to a certain position, and then it does all these moves. And so let's just see what it does. I'm going to press this the white button to reset it, and then now it's going to go. Okay. And it's going to go grab it. Kind of didn't quite grab it, but okay. So one thing that you probably notice is that it makes these moves really quickly, and so because of that, it's kind of hard to fine tune it, and it's kind of rough. So what I want to do is slow down the entire motion. Now, if you remember, the way that we do that is actually we need to actually split up these moves into really small moves. So I'm going to pull up the whiteboard here and just to illustrate what I mean by that. All right, so here's my whiteboard, and again, this is something that we've done before, but just want to recap. That's always good to review. So if you remember, we have our servo motor. It can go from 0 to 180 degrees. Okay. And so let's just take the example of, let's say, the base motor. Okay, the base motor starts at 0, and so which would be, I think it's facing up this way, but I guess, again, I always get confused if it might be reversed. We'll see. But let's say this is 0 going north, and then it can go all the way to 180, going back down when this claw is facing down this direction. Now, if we make that move, it's going to go from here and go to there all the way to 180 super fast. And so that's where you get that fast jerking motion. So instead, what you have to do is we want to make little moves from 0 all the way to 180. And then what we do inside these little moves, we insert a delay. Now, if we make all these delays super long, it's going to go super slow. And if we make these delays super short, then it's going to go a little bit faster. All right. So we did this using a for loop, where we would start at the 0, and then we slowly add 1. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way till we get to 180. So let's go ahead and do that just as a review, so that we can, and we're going to use that code to then update the motion on our robot arm. All right, so I'm going to go back to our code here. Okay, and I'm going to just, you know what, I'm just going to comment out everything. So we'll just start fresh here. Okay. So if I just write a program, I'm going to just move the base motor from 0 to 180. All right, so let's do that. So it's base motor dot write 0, base motor, and then let's put a delay 1000. So we're going to wait there a second, and then we're going to base motor dot write 180. And then wait 1 second. All right, so this should just go back and forth, and then I'm going to also do a while one get stuck here forever. So this was our little trick here, so that after it does these 4 commands, it's just going to get stuck at line 155 forever, so it doesn't keep going back and forth. All right, so let's upload this, and I just want to confirm that we're going to have motion that's not smooth. Okay. Okay, great. So let me move it up so you can see everything. So it went to 0, which was over here, and then 180. Let's upload it again just to make sure. And it looks like when it first starts out, it looks like it goes to 90 first. And that's okay. Just let's see. See, it goes to 90 first. 0, 180. So one of the things, right when the motors initialize or power up, it's kind of, we don't know exactly where the motor's going to go. And so the fact that it goes to 90, we're just going to have to live with that. All right. So we do that. We're just, okay, so it's going to go 90, but then right away we go to 0, wait, go to 180. So how do we make this motion smoother? So we use the while loop, right? So I'm going to change this, and instead of these 4 commands, I'm going to create a for loop. So I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I less than 180, I plus plus, and then curly braces. So I'm going to say I'm going to go from base motor dot right I. Okay. So every time I increases by 1, this will also increase. All right. Okay. So now we also want to put a delay. So let's say we're going to put a delay 100 for now. So as it increases, the angle increases by 1, I'm going to wait 100 after each move. So let's see how that works out. I'm going to get rid of this, and let's go ahead and upload. Okay, it should sweep. Well, first go to 90, and then there we go. Pretty smooth. So I kind of like that speed. If I want it to go a little bit faster, I can always change this. So I'm going to upload again. I want you to notice that there are 2 moves like that, and then the second one too. You see how just like zoom goes over there? I don't really like that. I want it to sweep over to 0 slowly and then sweep over to 180. So how are we going to do that? Well, we know that when it first powers up, it looks like the base motor goes to 90. And so what we need to do, going back to the whiteboard, we need to do another for loop that says start at here, which is 90, and then go to 180. So how are we going to do that? Let's try that. All right, so I'm going to, so before this move, what we're going to do is we're going to say, oh, you know what? Actually, that's not right. It goes, the first move is actually to 0. So let me undo this. It goes from 90 to 0. And then our code goes from 0 to 180. All right? So 90 to 0, nice and smooth, and then 0 to 180, nice and smooth. So let's try this. we're going to do for int I equals 90 now. So we're going to start at 90. I greater than 0, I minus minus, curly braces. So let me just explain what's going on here. So when we say int I equals 90, this is basically I'm saying what angle do I want to start at? I want to start at 90 now. Going back here, I want to start at 90. Okay? And then I'm going to go down. So I'm going to get smaller. I'm going to subtract by 1 until I get to 0. So let's see how that works out over here. So the I minus minus means I'm going to subtract. So that means I'm going to subtract by 1. And then the I greater than 0 means I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep subtracting 1 from 90 to 89 to 88, 87, all the way until, as long as I is greater than 0. So once I is no longer greater than 0, the for loop stops. So let's go ahead and write our command, base motor, write I. All right, and then let's also put a delay. All right, let's upload this guy. So it should be smoother now. It's going to first go to 90, okay? But then it's going to go smooth. There we go. And then it's going to go down to 0. Now, kind of just so that you guys don't have to wait around forever watching this, you know, let's change this 100 to, let's try 30. I think 30 will still be smooth enough, but faster. Let's see. Okay, great. Now, so what's going to happen is that this code, to me, looks a little bit, well, I'm thinking about all the different moves I need to do. For example, my claw, right? I also need to do the lift motor, extend motor, and if every single move needs to have one of these, it's just, I feel like my code's going to get kind of messy. So one thing that that I've mentioned in the past is that if we have code that repeats, that kind of looks alike, we can use something called a function, and then that kind of like a shortcut. So let's see if we can make these for loops into functions. So let's try this. So I'm going to create a function called, it's going to be void, and I'm going to call it sweep. All right, and you know what? I'm going to call it, maybe call sweep 2 functions, because I need one for minus minus and then one for plus plus. So I'm going to go sweep plus, okay, and I'm just going to type the other ones, void sweep minus. All right, so I'm going to have 2 different functions. One for whenever I'm doing minus minus here, and one for when I'm doing plus plus. All right, so let's try this. So I'm going to take, whenever I do this, I like to take the code. I'm trying to put this into a function, so I'm going to copy it and then just put it in here. All right. So what I want to do is say I need to replace these 2 numbers with parameters, and this is what I mean. All right, so I'm going to call this int min, int max. All right, so these are two inputs or parameters that can go into our function, and watch what happens here. Int I equals min and I less than max. So what's going on? The parameters, they're kind of like variables, all right? So if I put 30 or put 0 here, then it's going to be I equals 0. If I put 180 here, it's going to be I less than 180. All right. Now what that allows me to do is change min and max. That means I can sweep between any two numbers, and all I need to do is do sweep plus. So let's try this out. I'm going to copy this sweep plus, and I'm going to replace this code right here with sweep plus 0 to 180. All right, so this will do that. Let's just make sure. All right, this part is this loop here, and then now I'm doing the sweep plus from 0 to 180. All right, now let's see if I can do the sweep minus then. So again, if I'm trying to make a function based on some code, I'm going to copy this and paste it in. And then this one is also going to have two parameters. It's going to go from int. Maybe we should reverse it, right? If it's int sweep minus, we'll put the big number first, and then the small number second as parameter. And then we're going to say we're going to start at the max number, and then we're going to keep going as long as the number is greater than the min number. All right. Okay, so now let's see if we can get sweep minus to work. Okay, so then we have sweep. I'll put it up here just to be consistent. So this is sweep minus, and I want to go from 90 to 0. All right, let's upload this, and it should still do the same thing. Okay, there's my sweep minus, and here's my sweep plus happening. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these. And you can see how clean my code looks now. Now, let's go ahead and do a few more. Like, what if I want to go, so I start from sweep minus from 90 to 0. I go sweep plus from 0 to 180. Then I also want to, let's do another sweep plus from 180 to 90. Is that right? Sweep plus. No, it should be, if I'm going from 180 to 90, then it should be sweep minus. Because I'm going to go from 180 to 90, right? And it's minus because you're starting from a big number down to the smaller number. Let's make sure that this works. And you can see now just these three lines can make this smooth movement, which is pretty cool. Okay, here's my sweep minus, 90 to 0, sweep plus, 0 to 180, and sweep minus, 180 to 90. Cool. All right, so now I'm going to actually take things to another level. This is working pretty well. I like that we can go from sweep minus to, and then also a sweep plus. But I'm thinking I want an even better function. I want just one function called sweep that's going to take care of both sweep minus and sweep plus. So basically, I want to be able to do this. So right now, I need sweep minus, sweep plus, sweep minus, right? I'm going to comment this out. I instead want to just be able to do this. Sweep 90 to 0. Sweep 0 to 180. And sweep 180 to 90. So you see the difference here is they're all the same. So then my code is even simpler. So then I'm just saying, just go from the first number and go to the second, sweep to the second number. It doesn't matter if it's the first number is smaller or smaller than the second number or vice versa. We want sweep to be able to take care of that. So what this means is that our sweep function needs to be a little bit more complex. We need to be able to figure out, are we adding? So for example, in other words, are we doing this thing where we're doing I++, or are we doing this thing where we're doing I minus minus? So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to be writing probably the most complex function that we've written so far. But you guys could just follow me. So I'm going to say void sweep. And now we're going to we're just going to have two numbers here. We're going to have int, and I'm going to call it initial, because we don't know if this is going to be a bigger number or a smaller number when compared to the second second parameter. So we're just going to call it initial because we know we want to start there, and then int end. All right. So the way it works is that when we call sweep, the first number, like where we're starting, we're going to put that number here. And then where we end, we're going to put that number here on the second one. All right, and then we have our curly braces to put our function stuff. So the first thing we need to do is this. We need to figure out, is this a minus or plus situation? All right, so how are we going to do that? Well, we can say if initial, which is this one here, is less than end, then what does this mean? If this number is less than this number, that means it's a sweep plus. Okay? Else, you know what, I'll just kind of make things more clear. I'll say if end is, or I'll do it this way, if initial, trying to think of how to make it most clear. If initial is greater than end, right? If this number is bigger than this number, that means we're going to start from big number, end in a small number. That means we're going to be sweeping minus. Sweep minus. Okay? So now we have this these conditionals inside of our function. Now I just realized, you know what? Let's be kind of smart here. We actually have sweep plus already. So we can actually take, I think one of you guys asked, can we put a function inside a function? This is back in the day. So yeah, you can actually put a function inside a function. So what we can do is say, you know what? I want to take sweep plus and just throw in the numbers here. So we want to do sweep plus, and we're going to go initial and end. I want to make sure that that's correct. So if initial is less than the end, that means I want to do a sweep plus, and I just put this in here. The first one will be smaller than the second one. Okay. Now I think that's right. Now the initial is greater than end. That means I need a sweep minus. So I go here. I have my sweep minus. So I'm going to call this function. Now here's, I think, the tricky part. What numbers do I put into here? So I'm going to actually start with, I think this is right. Initial, comma, end. Yeah. Yeah, this should be right. All right, the way that I've written it here. So in this case, initial will just be a bigger number than the end number. But because sweep minus takes care of that, it does a minus to minus, everything's just going to work out okay. So that's kind of the beauty of it. We already wrote sweep minus and sweep plus, so we can just take those and put it inside our conditionals. All right. This was kind of a lot. Let's see if this works. So I'm coming down here. Now I'm just going to go sweep 90 to 0, sweep 0 to 180, or 0 to 180, and then sweep 180 to 90. So super simple, right? Now I've done all that work in writing really nice functions. This should just work right away. Let's try. Cool. 90 to 0, 0 to 180, 180 to 90. Works perfectly, and what's so great is that I don't need to worry about is it plus or minus. I just put in the numbers. Basically, where do I want to start and where do I want to end. Awesome. All right, so now the sweep here takes care of the base motor. Now, what I want to do is, let's just, as an example, write one for the claw. Okay. So how would we do that? So we're just going to copy the code here. Right. What we could do is take all of this, and we could copy it, okay? And then we could paste it, and then all we do is change this, instead of base motor, it's claw motor, right? But I think I'd like to go one step further and just take our function even to the next level. What if we did this? What if inside sweep we can actually say which motor? Check this out. So we're going to add another parameter, and we're going to call this is going to be a servo object. All right. And we're going to call it its whatever motor. All right. And we're going to take this, and we're also going to put it inside sweep plus, and put it inside sweep minus. All right. So we're going to take this information of whatever motor, we're going to put it into sweep plus and put it into sweep minus. And then coming back up here, that means these also need servo motor, servo motor. All right, and now here's the beauty. Right here, we had hard-coded this is for base motor, right? But what we can do now is actually just take this. It's going to be like it's like a variable. It's just going to pass it in. So I can just say motor.write. Motor.write. So what does this allow me to do? It allows me to actually say what motor I want to move. It doesn't always have to be a base motor now. So let's see if this works. So sweep now takes initial position, end position, and also a motor. So I can say sweep 0, 90, base motor. Sweep 0, 180, base motor. Sweep 180, 90, base motor. All right, so this is saying I want to sweep all these three sweep commands, but I want to move the base motor for all these. So let's try this. And it seems to be working. All right, so let's see then if I can use my really awesome function here to quickly sweep my the claw. So the claw is, let's see if I can remember. Let's see, it goes claw open is 180, claw close, and okay, claw close is 180, claw open is 90. All right, so let's use that. So I'm going to say sweep 180 to 90, claw motor. And then I'm going to sweep 90 to 180, claw motor. So these two should open and close my claw. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Okay, so I first have these 3 sweeps and then claw. Let's see. That was kind of cool. All right. Now, if you notice, there was one fast motion again, right? Here, I'm going to press the reset here. Oh. So right now, and my guess is the claw's at 90. So kind of like these motors, kind of like the base motor, when it first starts out, it looks like it starts at 90. So then I should first sweep, kind of like I did for the base motor. If it's at 90, let's sweep 90 to 180. Okay, so let's go from 90 to 180, and then 180 to 90, and then 90 to 180 again. All right, let's do this. Okay. There's my base sweeping, and then now my claw. Yep, close. All right, and there we go. So at this point, that's what we're going to do today. So I want to just these are not challenges today, but just practice. the first thing will be to create, and you guys would just copy what I was doing on here. We have we had the sweep minus and sweep plus. Sweep minus and sweep plus functions for base. And then that's practice number 1. And again, you guys can just follow my video. And then practice number 2 is create sweep function for base. And then practice number 3 is create sweep function where you can input any motor. So the practice number 3, where you can input any motor, that's going to be, we want to end up with this guy right here. All right, so I know this was a lot going on here in terms of this code, but I wanted to expose you guys to some of this more complex coding. And rather than having a challenge, you just kind of follow along, and we'll cover questions, and you guys will be able to see this a few more times as well. So no worries if you didn't get everything right away. I just kind of wanted you guys to see what the power of coding, because if we put in a little brain power, you can see these functions here. It's going to make controlling our robot, making it go smooth, a lot simpler. All right, that's it for now. Good luck, have fun, and talk to you guys soon.